Hey, what's up, guys? Bonafide Hustler here.
Rake and profit.
10K on the bay, Chris Lin.
All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Green Room Hangout. We have pulled it back an hour, mainly because of Rakin. But anyways, welcome to the Green Room Hangout. And my name's Chris. I'm also known as the Bonafide Hustler. You're on my channel. I flip stuff I find from eBay. Or sorry, I find stuff from garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, pawn shops, swap meets, big box stores, and I put it on places like eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, and a consignment store in town. I'm one of the admins of the Green Room University, and I'll toss it over to Rakin.
You still having like that stomach
bug
or something, man? Is it getting in your head?
I'm telling you, it's almost done. It's almost done.
You never mess up that script.
I know, but anyway, hey, I've kept all my workouts though. All right, keep going, man.
What's going on, everybody? Steve Rakin here, Rake and Profit. Sell on eBay, Amazon, Shopify, Craigslist, whole bunch of different things. Been reselling for about 4 years and had the privilege of meeting Christopher Lin in Las Vegas, and he was dressed super sharp, man. Had a nice suit on too. Good to see you, man. What's going on, Chris?
Not much. My name's Chris. I do Facebook marketing during the day as my daytime job, and I'm starting on eBay and Amazon as my 2 platforms. But I am going to mess with the other platforms just to see what they're doing, to learn. But I'm just going to focus on those 2 selling platforms for e-commerce. Thanks for having me, guys. And great to meet you last week.
You have a YouTube channel, right?
Just started one. Yep. It's awesome.
Yep. And then it's called 10K on the Bay. We'll get to what that name is and everything like that. So anyway, so you are Chris Lin. You are from Bay Area, right?
I'm in Oakland, yes.
Oakland, okay. And the avenues that you currently sell on, you know, there's Craigslist, there's eBay, there's Amazon, there's a billion avenues. So like, which ones do you mess with right now?
Mainly just eBay and Amazon.
Okay, mainly just eBay and Amazon. Okay, Amazon MF or Amazon FBA?
So I'm transitioning from Amazon MF to FBA. I have 6 items left for merchant fulfilled, and I think I'm just going to send them all into FBA and have it be clean. Because I switched over to the actual professional account, the $40 a month earlier this month, and now I'm going FBA.
Okay, cool. So yes, that's our guest today. I want to make sure our sound check goes right. We have an amazing amount of stuff to cover. We have a big outline right here, and Rakin, who do we got in the feed today?
Sure. We got a lot of familiar faces from earlier in the day when Chris was featured on my channel. We've got Heather Lee, AZ Mick. We've got a Green Room member in the house, Scott McFarlane, Amazon Seller 99. This is a girl with the coolest name ever, Clearing Clutter for Clarity. That comes right off the tongue. Yeah. Amy Holquest, what's going on? Hoovy the Real. Hoovy's always in the comments, and Hoovy's saying, Chris, was it the shrimp at the Vegas buffet? In caps, never eat the shrimp. You ate the shrimp.
You had shrimp too.
A lot of seafood. I didn't have any shrimp. You were plowing down crab like the end of the world was coming.
Well, the end of the world was coming, so that's why I plowed down all that crab.
Amazon Seller 99 says ASD was pretty insane, better than previous years. So we got quite a few people in the house, 65 people watching right now. 2 things I need you guys to do before we get started. Number 1, hit the like button. You know, you could caress it softly or you could just smash that thing to pieces. And number 2, be sure to get our free book down below. Chris, do you have that in front of you?
It's in the garage, but it's 100 amazing items to resell. It's the very first link down below. Go check it out. Now, the second link down below is the Green Room University. Definitely check that out as well. It's our private Facebook community. It's basically the Green Room family. I want you to check that out. Pretty awesome video there on the main link. And right below that is a link to 10K on the Bay, the YouTube channel. I want you to go to that channel, and I want you to subscribe to it. Very, very important. So 10K, we're going to call, should we call you Chris or 10K? I don't even know what to call you anymore, man.
Let's just do Chris.
Okay, we'll call you 10K. All right, so I'm just kidding. We'll call you Chris. You were on Rakin's show earlier, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you guys were talking about all kinds of stuff and processes, and you got kind of technical at some points with the tax stuff. So it's pretty interesting, and hopefully we can get to some of that stuff today. So the first question really is, what is a typical day for you?
Sure. So I am really working hard to get a workout into my day. The first thing I do when I wake up. Actually, right when I wake up, I drink like a liter of warm water. That's been a super good hack for me. I don't know who I heard it from, but I'm doing that right when I wake up, trying to get a quick workout in. And I do about 30 hours of Facebook marketing for car dealerships during the week. And I try to knock that out earlier in the day. So I'll wake up, I'll do my Facebook marketing, and then I'll get in the listing. And then until basically I either hang out with my girlfriend or at night I like to read. So basically I just work all day other than the 3 days a week that I hang out with my girlfriend.
Okay. 50 Shades of Grey kind of guy, or more like something else?
You mean for the hangouts?
I'm just kidding. You said you read, so like the books.
You mean like, do I like to read fantasy women's romance? Yeah, I'm all about that fantasy women's romance. No, I mean, I like to read a lot of self-help, and I'm getting more into fiction just because it's a nice break. Like, don't have to, at a certain point, I like the creative process involved with storytelling.
So while we're on the subject of kind of like what you listen to or what you read, do you listen to anything maybe on headphones during the week while you're doing the Facebook marketing? Is there anything else that kind of pumps you up?
Right now, Amazon pumps me up. I mean, I'm a main eBay guy, but I think I kind of got that some momentum going with eBay. So right now I'm listening to a lot of FBA podcasts because I'm fascinated by how big Amazon is.
All right, so shout out a couple real quick for the people in the feed so they can check out these podcasts as well.
Sure.
What's your favorite one right now?
My favorite one right now is Freedom Fastlane. I really like Ryan Moran. He's a really cool guy, and he has a program called 0 to 1 million or something. And he has a lot of free content for people like myself who maybe can't afford his paid course. And that's one of my favorites. I'm also, I don't know, whatever iTunes recommends for FBA is what I listen to. But I listen to also Tim Ferriss's podcast. I like to listen to what other people are doing. So the 4-Hour Workweek, I follow that. And then my favorite podcast is the Bruce Lee podcast. And that's more like philosophy and being at peace. And yeah, I consider myself a pretty happy guy. So I think that has something to do with it.
Okay, cool. You're not going to like punch holes in your wall or anything after this podcast, right?
During the podcast.
Oh, during the podcast. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure your landlord's going to like that. So let's make sure 100 people, because we have 109 people in the house right now. Tell them where to go and how to find you. You have how many ways to find you? You have Instagram, you have YouTube. Tell them how to find you, because this is going to be a banger of a show, and you're going to want to definitely follow this guy like right now. So how do we find you?
Right now, all my social media is pretty new, but follow me on Instagram and on YouTube. 10K on the Bay, all one word. It's a play on words. You're technically not supposed to have the word eBay in your name. That's why I do the Bay, and I'm also in the Bay Area, so I'm gonna hopefully get away with it. But 10K on the Bay, all one word. Man,
that's like a crazy play on words. Now that I realize what you did there, man. Yeah, you're right. Because okay, I totally see it. So explain 10K on the Bay. What does this even mean? And I mean, I know how you came up with it, but what does it mean to the people out there?
Sure. So actually, I have to credit Scott in the green room for giving me the name, because I was trying to figure out what I was trying to do, and people were asking me more questions. And I said, well, the Anchor store for eBay, which is a $300 subscription a month, gives you 10,000 free listings. And I was thinking, wow, that should be a good goal, because for 3 cents, I can get an item online to eBay's millions of customers. I don't think there's a cheaper way to list anything with that kind of audience. For 3 cents reaching millions of people, I don't think a cheaper form of marketing exists right now.
Okay, so
biggest bang for buck.
That's for the Anchor store, and with the okay, so you're assuming 30 days, right?
30 days.
Okay, so 30-day listings, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, Raken, do you know if the 30-day thing is preferred? Do you wonder? I mean, does the algorithm kind of work the same way with whether it's 3-5 or is it 3-5, 7, 30, and then GTC? Which one? How does it go, Chris?
Well, there's 3, 5, 7, or 10-day auctions.
Right.
And then you can do 30-day or good till canceled. And I think that it's probably the same, but if your listings get old, they can get stale and move down the listing. So I only do sell similar. When the listing ends, I will go in there and revise keywords, change up the order. And I also add an X if it's been in there for 30 days, a Y for 60 days, and a Z for 90 days in the title, so I can quickly search my own used inventory. Because
and then you can bulk edit, right? You can do things, right?
You can bulk edit. And basically, I just like to see visually, even though I'm wasting keywords, I just like to see it.
So, a lot of people out there, they mess with 100 listings, 200 listings. Some people have 500. Some people have 1,000. Every now and then you see someone with 5,000. You're creeping. Your goal is to get to 10,000. I think to most people that sounds like maybe, how do I say it? An administrative semi-nightmare, like, right? I mean, maybe I'll just call it as I kind of like, if I had 10,000 listings like behind the scenes, I'd be like, whoa, that's a crazy amount of relists. I mean, it's mouse clicks, I get it, but that's a lot of items, man. That's your goal though,
And
right?
also, that's my goal. And I've had people reach out to me and say, why are your goals so small?
Oh,
So,
really?
I mean, there's people out there that think huge, and it's like, I'm at 2,000 listings already, and if I didn't have a 10,000 listing goal, I wouldn't be pacing this fast. So it's fun to challenge yourself and pick a higher goal. Even if I fail, it's fine. If you set your goals, set for your goals up for the stars and you end on the moon, that's still good. So I'd rather set my goals overly large than overly small. Plus, I've learned a lot from the haters, and the bigger your goal is, the more people will criticize you and give you feedback. Like, do you even realize how much space you need for that? And then hopefully they give me an idea of how much space I need. Other than just whining.
Like,
So I mean, it's
bro, you're gonna need a warehouse, and you're gonna have to pay X amount per square foot in the Bay Area, and you're gonna have to contact this number. And you're like, sweet, thanks for all the help there.
Exactly. So, and the people that say great job, I don't learn as much from that person.
Oh yeah,
So
no, that's a good point.
Embrace the haters if I can, because it helps if they have a construction.
I think Rickon is itching to say something. What's
I
up,
was
Rickon?
going to say, I like how you're just going for it, man. You set the goal, the big goal, and you're just going for it, and you're not worrying about every little step. And that's one thing I've noticed about, I guess you could say, the haters, or just the people who are giving the criticisms or whatever. I mean, a lot of times people get caught up in the minute details, the little tiny things, and you're not even at that stage yet. Like, people are worrying about like what you're going to do at stage 5 when you're only on stage 1. I mean, just take it a step at a time, and when you come about that challenge, you face it then, and you'll figure it out. There's no need in worrying about, what you're going to do 6 months down the road when you're at 8,000 listings yet, so I commend you for that. That's cool, man. Yeah.
The haters are definitely going to watch you every step of the way. And I think that's funny because the haters are like, it's not, they are secret fans. Honestly, they want to see you fail, but at the same time they're watching your journey succeed, and they're sitting there like trying so hard because there's some inefficiency inside themselves that they're trying to cope with. I mean, honestly, because I mean, we're in the green room, right? Everyone's like supporting, everyone's like, oh my gosh, like let's see more pictures of your operation and all that kind of stuff. You only have, oh, I shouldn't say you only have, but you got started relatively recently, and you have 1,300 subscribers now on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reagan, when we had 1,300 subscribers, I didn't have a single hater. Like, Chris he's getting haters already. That's pretty. I mean, you got lofty goals though. That's good though.
Yeah, and I think things are a little different now. Is when we got started, there was like really no community. There was no spiderweb effect where now like he's getting on these big channels in the community and just like everyone's seeing you instantly. It's
right.
So all this judgment just flying at you, good, bad. It's a different game nowadays in the reselling community than it used to be when you started a channel.
Well, that's a good thing about your channel is you're documenting the entire journey, the whole way through, right?
The whole way through, and also I don't even know how to edit, so it's just if I screw up, I've got to re-record it. So like I'm just basically it's me doing it. So and I'm trying to basically show, look how messy it is. Like people are like, oh, there's piles of inventory on the floor, and I'm like, your first inventory for sure. Your first system was pile on the floor. That's everyone's first system.
Yeah, it's true.
Like if you didn't start with Amazon system, no one does.
No, you're right. But you're getting close though. You're all you need is like a robot on the floor that like goes to all the bins and picks all your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you'll be a little eBay warehouse, dude. So let's go. So now that people can link up and follow your journey, everything we've explained 10K on the beta people. The primary goal is to get to 10K. Is that the primary goal?
And then once I get there, I'm just going to maintain that.
Okay, so to get there and maintain. Okay, cool. So many will say that quality is preferred over quantity, right? You always hear this all the time, quality over quantity. So how are you going to go attain your goal of 10K while still maintaining quality?
Well, I do have a caveat, which is that I want every item I have to be worth at least $10 net profit. And as I continue my journey, I've learned that you can even have a higher net profit if you basically continuously cycle out the bottom stuff of your inventory, maybe auction it off or redonate it or wholesale it to other resellers. And then continuously add in higher profit items into your store. And I think once I'm at that 10,000 level, I'll be basically, according to the model I want, selling 100 items a day. And so I just need to recycle 100 better items back in my day. And hopefully by then I'll have lots of different suppliers I can pick from, and I can cherry pick the 100 best items. But right now, to be honest, I don't know what the 100 best items are.
Right.
So I'm still learning.
Raken, we have a guide for that.
And I'm in the green room.
I know.
I haven't really taken advantage of all these free guides. So it's because I'm buying in bulk, so I don't necessarily know what I'm getting. So
let's explain that real quick. You're buying in bulk. Let's dive into that real quick. That's not even one of the questions. So explain this. You're buying in bulk. Where are you buying? Like eBay lots? Are you buying other lot? Like what kind of lots are you buying here? Where are they from? Are they clothing? Are they goods? What do we got?
So I've been trying a couple strategies. One is garage sales. I'm in California. I'm in one of those regions where there's garage sales 365. And I've tried emailing people, hey, can I buy everything at your garage sale unseen?
Wait, like before they even have the sale?
Before they even have the sale.
Bro, are you crazy?
And twice I have pulled off buying it before they opened to the public. I got the full thing. I showed up at a lady's house. She's like, come look at it. It's Friday night. Come look at it. I want my Saturday back. And I was able to get all of it before she even opened it on Saturday. And I said, how about $80 for all of it? And she's like, let me help you load it up. She didn't even counteroffer.
Okay, so
really, let's break that down.
Yeah,
I know Chris is already going into that.
Well, go ahead, Raken, because you know what I'm about to ask. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I think what you were going to ask is like, what the heck did you see when you walked in, and like, what was the value of everything, and like, how much trash, how much gold?
Sure. So the first thing I saw was 20 tripods.
Whoa.
Okay, so the person was a photographer, but none of their camera equipment was for sale. But all their tripods all had the original boxes, the original wrapping, and people who take care of their things like that, I figure it's going to be some nice stuff, because if you don't care about it, you just throw all the wrapping away. But these were all packed into the same things. And I could tell they needed space. I was going to guess maybe the husband said, I need to park my car in the garage and to get rid of all this stuff. Or I'm not sure what the reason was for the garage sale, but there was a lot of sporting equipment, which is always good. And I learned from Bonafide, you can take it to play it against sports. So I saw the sporting equipment, I saw the camera equipment. I'm like, already, that's going to be $100 easily right there. And then there was boxes and boxes of books and games and whatever. And I said, how about $80? And she said, and it's probably maybe even too high of a first offer, because she said, I'm helping you move it right now. Let's load up your car.
So what was the best tripod that you found there? Let me ask you that. What was the best tripod that you, was it a...
I got 2 Manfrotto tripods.
Okay, I was about to say, did you get any Purging?
You just got your money back.
Cool. Those were over $50 each.
Okay.
I still have it. And the thing is, like, I took a step back from garage sales when somebody in the green room introduced me to the Goodwill bins. It's because you guys got to understand, I'm really new to this. Like, I started the thrift game really like in January. So when I went to the bins, and I was like, man, everything is under 50 cents. I just was a little bit thrown off. And then I ended up buying 8 pallets worth of stuff from them because it was just so cheap. And then I realized that, oh, just so you guys know, 1 pallet of used clothing fits in a Prius. So I don't know if you guys would care, but I had to make 8 trips to get all that stuff into my garage.
Oh my gosh, that's dedication. So how much did 1 pallet, what is the average weight of a pallet, and how much does a pallet cost?
It's about 400 to 500 pounds.
Okay, wow.
And $260 roughly.
260. And it's just sight unseen, you don't know what's in there, or do you know?
No, you can take a quick glance of what's on top. And I also realized they sort of faked that a little bit. So, I mean, like, you'll see a Vineyard Vine shirt on top, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna make a fortune. And then it's like 20 Target shirts in a row under that, so you gotta, like, play the game a little bit. But I can tell that at the Goodwill bins, they have an abundance of clothing, and that's really what they want to get rid of first. And the guy told me that when they bring out fresh bins, they're not fresh, they're just from a different day. They're just rotating sort of the same stuff in and out. And if you buy bulk, you have in my opinion, you have a higher likelihood of getting something unpicked. you know.
I think it's different
Yeah.
everywhere though, because I've heard different things. I don't have much experience at all with bins, Chris. So this is just what I've heard through the grapevine. But I've heard that
Mhm.
some places, like, it's inventory that was just like there was just too much inventory for specific, area or whatever, and it's just overflow, and a lot of it is fresh. But then I've heard the same thing that you said. So I think people in the comments should comment below, because we're all kind of new to this. Chris, I know you don't do bins, do you?
No, I don't do them. Well, they're far away from me. And second of all, they're just, I don't know. It's a different kind of hustle. So anyway.
Yeah, so I want to hear what other folks have to say, because I've heard it's different in various places. Because I've been at bins before, and I've seen people with like TI-83s in their cart, and I'm like, there's no way if anyone sees a TI-83 the first round, that thing's gone. Maybe, but that's cool, man.
So when you get these things and you dump them into your Prius and you bring them into your house, do you have like a Breaking Bad suit on the whole time? Like, or is this stuff dirty? Like what's going? I mean, are you just?
So I have a theory. I think people in the United States, where we're a pretty affluent country, most people donate clothes because they're too small. And most of the clothes that I get are freshly laundered. Like, I'm not getting a lot of the dirty, like, I don't, like, once in a while I get a mouse or a dirty diaper. Just kidding, I don't get that. But I'm just saying, it's like really clean stuff that I'm getting. I do notice some stuff is torn. Maybe they're donating that, but for the most part, they just look like they're too small.
Okay. And then how much do you redonate, or what do you just throw into a dumpster? Like, what do you?
So I was redonating about 10% of it to Salvation Army, since I shop
Only
at
10%?
Only 10%. But after going to Amazon ASD, people are saying, get rid of 50%. Like, just spend the whole day sorting and get rid of the bottom half, and buy twice as much and just have the good stuff and wholesale that to somebody else. And that sort of blew my mind. But a lot of Amazon sellers are saying they look through 100 products to find one. Like, they're just constantly sifting and refining to their, the nice one.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Chris. Let me jump in real quick. When you deal with the pallets, Chris, of the clothing, let's just say you were to like let go of the bottom 50%. In terms of the top 50% out of that pallet, which is what, 400 to 500 pounds, you said. So let's just say each item's a pound, around there. Let's just say you have 200-300 items. What do you think that top 50%? What do you think that average sale price is of those items that you're finding? Are they selling on average for $12 each, 14, 8?
So right now my average sale price is $22, and I charge $6.99 for shipping. So I do not have free shipping. So I'm just under $30. This includes all the stuff that I'm thrifting. Obviously, if you thrift at a retail Goodwill, you're going to get more money. But I'd say the stuff from the Goodwill bins, the top half is worth over 15, not including shipping. And the bottom half is worth at least 5 plus shipping.
And what would you say the cost associated with each one of those items is, your average cost, if you were to have?
About 50 cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 cents for a piece of clothing, given it's not like a really big jacket or something. I mean, you're shipping that for $3-4.
That's right.
Right? On a $20 item, your fees are, $3 or so. So, I mean, you're in it for $6 or $7. I mean, are you averaging a good 200% ROI on each item with those clothing items?
A little over. So my margin is around $17 average on a $31 item, including shipping from the bins. But I just want to say, before we get too far into the bins, that it's still my least favorite form of sourcing. And I do think it's like sorting. I'm actually not accurately depicting how long it takes. So I don't know if it's worth my time yet. It's too early to tell. But when I buy stuff at Goodwill, it's ready to list, or a garage sale for the most part.
So if you have the garage sales 365 and they're going crazy, like, what's to stop you from just maybe hiring some people and just being like, hey, I want you to tag these listings, like, here they are, let's email all of them, and maybe out of 40 that you say I'll buy everything, you come out with 2, right? But 2 could make your entire weekend, right? So how many have you done that way? You've done 2 so far?
I've done 2 so far, and the other one was 100% clothing.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that one was the lady just got rid of maybe I'd say 300 items, and I only paid $40 for all of it.
Oh, geez.
So she just didn't want. And my close is always, you don't even have to waste any of your Saturday. And for them, the time of not having to set it up is worth it.
Right.
So that's basically my close. And the reason why I don't focus more on garage sales is because it's unpredictable.
Okay.
So, you know, with my profit margin goal, I think, Chris, you want at least $30. I think, Reagan, you're in the same bucket. Since I'm not listing it myself, I'm okay with a $10 margin. So I'm wondering what it's like to go thrifting with you guys and saying, okay, now your threshold is only $10. How much stuff could you guys get?
Oh, we
if
could
that
get
was
a
your
ton. I could get a ton. Right? Yeah, I could
unlimited.
get a ton.
Yeah, so.
Like I tell you, you're right. It kind of is unlimited at that point. So we definitely answered the question of how do we attain the goal of 10K while still maintaining quality. Let's talk about the outsourcing in this business, because you kind of hinted at it that you're not doing all the listings yourself. So how are you outsourcing, you know, your route to 10K? Do you have any helpers, or are we 1099ing any people, anything like that?
Sure. So right now I'm paying $2 per listing, start to finish. So basically, what I define as start to finish is 30 items, clothing items in a bin, and they take the bin home, and they have all the equipment that I provide. I basically gift it to them to try to avoid employee status. They're gonna photograph it, measure it, list it, and then polybag it, and then deliver it back to me, ship ready, but not sealed.
Okay, ship ready but not sealed. So they're in the poly bags, but they're not pulled. The plastic thing is not pulled yet.
Plastic thing is not pulled,
okay,
so I can double check before shipping. And this is also, I know, Chris, you also have a box wall. You try to get things organized before they go out. I'm trying my best to do that, have it be ship ready. So basically, I can just be a fulfillment center at home and just ship it out. Label on it, goes out.
So you're gonna be like the robot on the floor.
I want to be the robot.
Here's my thing with that process.
6 foot tall robot.
With that process you guys use, I mean, the same amount of time is still going in essentially, because you're putting in the time on the front end versus the back end. My question is for Bonafide, since Chris is considering this, what do you do if, you know, I know you don't sell a lot of clothing, but for me, there's a lot of people who will buy multiple items. You know, then, you know, what would you do in that situation? You got to tear open the box and then put it in another box, right?
Well, let me get your question correct. Like multiple items, meaning how? When I think of multiples, I'm thinking of FBA immediately.
Well, say I go to your eBay store and I buy a pair of boots, and then I buy, I don't know, a North Face jacket or something like that. They're already pre-packaged. So in that scenario, you're going to have to tear one open or two and then put it in a new.
If someone buys multiple items, which is really rare though. Like it's so rare that, you know, when it comes time to like combining something, usually it happens with like RC related stuff. Like someone sees a servo, then a motor, or like something that they want, so they just put it together. But outside of that, it's not as often as you would think, you know. But I can see how it could become more often with a store that's 2,000 or 10,000.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. What about Mr. 10K? Does your average customer buy more than one item, or are they typically one-offs?
I mean, my items aren't sealed. It's not difficult for me to combine the order.
But I'm saying that do your customers buy, typically when they shop with you, are they buying more than one item on a single transaction?
Usually not, no.
Yeah, same here. I mean, usually not. So I guess I like that idea as well, because there's nothing worse than, you know, having 50 items to ship out and you're super busy, and like, you know, there have been times where like I'm fighting the clock before the post office closes. So I definitely like that strategy.
Yeah, the pre-box is, you know, if that's one thing that you can do eventually down the road, I would, you know, it just gets you more proactive when it comes time to like shipping an off day, you know. And that's the part that I hated the most, was ship off day, and I'm almost like, oof, like that just sucks, you know. But if you pre-package everything and you have a certain like area in the garage where everything is, then ship off day is not that bad, right? In fact, a lot of times before I ship tomorrow, for example, I'll pull the stuff tonight, kind of just relaxed. I just go into my garage real quick and I'm like, all right, kind of find it, and then there it is, put it into a little corner, throw the scale down, and that was it. You know, that's pretty easy stuff. But I can see how, you know, when you get more items, I mean, are we essentially talking an entire wall of your garage now is like eBay inventory, correct?
It's going to be 400 bins, which is going to take up 16 shelves, which is literally 99% of a 2-car garage.
Wow. That's crazy, man. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, so how many? Okay, so you have two already. Like, do you have just two full racks in your garage? Like, what do you have going on right now?
Right now I have only 4 racks. So of my 16 racks is the 10K. So I'm like not even 25% of the way done yet. So it's a long road. And there's a lot of things that I didn't realize. Like I need to hire basically a full-time bookkeeper because it's a lot of transactions. And not necessarily full-time, but a dedicated bookkeeper. Like it can't be something that I have to do if I want to actually pull this
what do you
off.
specifically need them to do? Like, what are you struggling with? 'Cause I know you have
So-
GoDaddy bookkeeping, right?
Right. I just need to reconcile line by line for, I think it's good to know. That way I can eventually purchase better. I need it for purchasing. I need
So you
someone
have
to
something
look
that
at
you
it and
can
tell
do.
me.
Like, you can almost do that system yourself for the first year, and
Yeah,
then kind of
and I
figure
am
out
going to
like
do
what's
it.
working, what's not,
Right
and then
now
just
I'm doing it
eliminate that
myself
bottom
this
tier.
first
You
year.
know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the whole purpose of doing that, is essentially to eliminate the bottom 50%. Or maybe sometimes you eliminate the bottom 70%, right? Only mess with things that are super profitable, completely worth
Yeah.
your time, to where
Mhm.
you're running super efficient. But you have to track that somehow. You're right. If you were just to do the inventory method, where you do, you know, I'm talking about just the basic things with inventory count at the first part of the year, the last part of the year, and then you start dealing
Right.
with, you know, expenses and basically inventory. You really don't get to see line by line what's going on at that point.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that's the way to do it big time, you know. But you usually have to get an idea of what to even buy, like what's working, you know, like what's worth your time. And I think you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it the right way. So let's go into the feed real quick. I'm going to go into the feed in 1 minute. So if you have a question for Chris Lin, 10K on the Bay, I want you to ask it. All right. And we can't get to every question, so I'm just going to try to read whatever comes first. So yeah, in the feed right now, put a question for 10K on the Bay. We'll go to the next question of the outline, and then we'll go right into the feed. So you're primarily sourcing your items from what seems to be bins right now, right?
Yes.
That's the primary place, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever just find yourself sourcing in Goodwills and stuff just randomly, or no?
Absolutely. And now I didn't know the bins existed until a month and a half ago. Now that I know that, I prefer Goodwill retail because I know stuff's going to go to the bins. And I don't think that they get paid well when items go to the bins. So I'm trying to catch it before then. So I'm basically bundling. And my new strategy for Goodwill retail is I ask, and I was going over this with Steve earlier. I talked to a regular employee first, and I asked them, like, what do resellers buy? And they're like, oh, all this stuff, PlayStations, you know, all this stuff that's easy to flip, Allen Edmonds shoes. And I'm like, what do they never buy? And they're like, they never buy pillows, they never buy blankets, they never buy luggage. That stuff just sits and sits and sits. They never buy glassware. And I'm like, okay, if I buy all that stuff, can you guys give me all the good stuff? And they're like, hell yeah. So that's how I've been doing it. I literally took 20 luggages from a Goodwill for free so they could get that retail space back. And I just drove it straight to a Salvation Army. So I mean, like, I'm just doing it because, like, I'm trying to think, what could I do for them?
Awesome.
They would help me get their good stuff, because they don't need a reseller to sell Allen Edmonds shoes. It's going to sell to a regular person.
Right.
You provided zero value to them. So I'm trying to get there and say, okay, you've got all this glassware. I've purchased every single piece of glassware from a Goodwill before. And I think it was like almost free, because they're like, it's just going to sit forever.
Was it you who told me cookie jars and stuff? Was that you?
I love cookie jars. Yeah, and I didn't even know about that until I was like, I'm going to try and sell some of this stuff that they gave me.
Cookie jars.
So,
Bacon, we need a cookie jar show. All right.
I probably will. I've done stuffed animals in glassware.
Oh man. Okay, so let's rapid fire some questions coming out of the feed here. You ready, Chris?
Good.
All right. It's from Don C. How many hours per week do you work? Let's not talk about this Facebook marketing thing. I think what he's talking about is the eBay part.
At least 40 hours a week. That's a lot.
That's a lot, dude.
A lot.
30 hours a week with your other thing, and then 40 with this. So you're doing 70-hour weeks, right?
The only times I'm not working is with my girlfriend.
Okay,
so
that's good. That's a real good thing to do. Don't ever bring the work with the girl.
Also, I'm not allowed my cell phone cannot be with me when I hang out with her.
Oh, that's
a very strict rule.
Yeah, that's really good too.
That's a really good rule. You guys should do that. It's a nice mental break. Yep.
Yeah, we kind of do that same thing. We just don't do the cell phones like after 6 o'clock or something like that. So, okay, another question, rapid fire style. Do you have other income sources besides eBay and the Facebook thing?
I do. I have 2 rental properties.
Okay.
So, yep.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
Let's go into Tom Wen says, let's just kind of whittle it down to the simplest part of this question.
Sure.
3 things to look for in thrift stores. What are your favorite 3 things?
I love men's sneakers. I love anything Pokemon, just because I like them. They're not necessarily the most profit. And then my most profitable has definitely been small leather goods. So, I guess that would be my favorite. Small leather goods retain a super high value, and most thrift stores don't know what they have.
Okay. There was another good question here. Man, there are a lot of questions coming through here, man. Oh, here's a really good one from Jordan Marquis. On average, how many items are you selling each day?
I'm selling between 10 and 16 items a day.
Okay.
And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but on my higher end items, most of them try to get a deal through PayPal. So this is kind of an unspoken thing. People will be like, what's your address? And they mean email address, because they want a little bit of a discount on, say, like a $300 pair of boots. They want to split the eBay fee with me. So if you look in my eBay store, you'll see I average around 10 a day, but I do a few off of eBay as well on the same platform. So I guess the answer, between 12 and 16 items a day right now.
Okay. Illinois Picker, how much capital are you having to spend to source now this kind of inventory? So let's talk about weekly. What do you think? Weekly, how much capital are you surrendering to sourcing or inventory in general?
Between $500 and $1,000.
Okay.
Right in that range.
All right, so make sure there's a bunch
I saw
of
one that
questions.
came through earlier. Someone was asking why you don't use TerraPeak. I believe the software TerraPeak, they were saying, could analyze your store and tell you like what your best selling items are and whatnot. I'm not sure if you've looked into that yet.
I actually didn't know it could analyze your own store. I
didn't know that either.
I thought it was a tool to look for what's trending, which that's what I would use if I was selling new items.
Right. Yeah, I would look into it, because that's what they said. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but it's probably worth looking into.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question from Illinois Picker again. What's your sell-through rate? Do you think you know that?
It's about 1% a day for me.
Okay, 1%. Yeah, with that much inventory, I mean 1% makes sense. Okay. Okay, so let's go into the next part of this outline. We determined you are definitely. So are you full-time? I mean, you're 40 hours eBay. That's like full-time eBay, part-time Facebook stuff, right? Or full-time both?
No, I spend more time on eBay. So even though, because my other job is the same thing over and over again. This is, yeah.
So you mean 8 trips with the Prius? That doesn't seem like the same thing over and over again.
That was, I should have just rented a truck.
So how far was this place? The Prius, I mean, you have a really gas. I mean,
it's 20 miles from here.
Okay, so essentially you probably spent like $1 in gas. I'm just kidding. It's a Prius. Yeah, it's a Prius joke.
It's basically free.
Yeah. So when do you see yourself getting to 10K, Chris?
I'm going to try to reach it by the end of the year, which means I need to increase my store by 1,000 listings per month.
Per month. That's not hard to do if you have 2 workers, right? You have 2 workers, correct?
And I need 5 workers to do it.
Oh, you need 5 workers to do it. Whoa.
So I'm not. I can, with 2 workers, I can get to 5K on the day. But like, it's not going to be enough to get there, because they're listing part-time.
Okay. Let me jump in. What do you think your biggest challenge is going to be getting to that 10K? Do you think it's going to be sourcing or the listing process?
I think it's going to be quality control, because I think with 5,000 listings, there's going to be 2 or 3 issues a day. So I'm going to need to handle those quickly. And I'm considering just giving a refund no matter what the reason is.
Yeah,
just to completely avoid it, because it's such a small amount. I'm at a 3%, 2 to 3% return rate. And I'm wondering if it's even worth it to entertain it at all.
Unless they're $300 boots, right?
Unless they're $300 boots, then I want them back.
You probably want to pursue that one a little bit.
I just saw the funniest comment ever saying, when will you change your name to 20K on the Bay?
Oh my gosh. He could probably extrapolate it, I bet. this guy's like a math dude. Were you good at math back in the day, Chris? You kind of strike me as a guy.
Come on, you don't even have to ask.
All right, that's pretty good. Yeah, you're right.
No, I love math.
Math is math is definitely a good thing for a hustler to have. You know, it's very important.
And I think it eliminates being annoyed with returns, because I know 3% of people are going to look for a creative way to discount it. And I already know that mathematically they're going to be there. And so like, I've been in sales my whole life, and one thing that I learned from car sales is that really only 3 out of 10 people buy a car. So when I met people that didn't buy, I'd always be like, oh, I'm grateful to meet you because you're one of the 7 people who don't buy. I need all 7 of you people that don't buy to find the 3 people who do buy. Instead of being crapped out about it and being like, why do 7 people waste my time? That's not a good attitude.
Oh, you're right. And I think some people really adopt the mentality when a return comes. You're like, why? I'm never done. Or when like a rate goes up on the USPS, or a rate goes up on Amazon, a rate goes up on eBay, like I'm done with it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It just kind of shows you the mentality out there sometimes. I'm not saying it's like everyone's got it, but like there are definitely some people I know, we see it in feeds and this and that. It's that mentality is poisonous. You got to focus on what you can control rather than what you can't control, right? You can control meeting 10 people at the car place, right? You can control that. You can also control, how you deal with a 3. You can't make 7 people buy a car. I mean, if they don't want to buy it, you cannot control that, But that's interesting that you look at it that way. So what are 3 mistakes that you think most eBayers are making? Like, let's just talk about eBay in general right here, okay? Without the 2K, 10K, whatever, just most eBayers are making these 3 mistakes. What do you think they are?
I think that I'm going to try to give 3 reasons you don't normally hear. So one thing is that they bring inventory into their house. And I think the extra time you take moving it all the way up into your bedroom, moving it down to your kitchen to list, just that constant retouching the same item, moving it all over your house versus like, rake-in strategy, just leaving it in the middle of the way so you have to deal with it. I love that. It should just be, all your inventory should be stored right by your door, in my opinion. I think that's a pro tip to save time. Yeah. The second thing is that I think they don't venture out of their comfort zone and buy things that they don't know. For example, somebody asked an example of a small leather good that sold really well. I got a little Rimowa luggage leather suitcase that was tiny and sold for $80. So, I mean, you got to step out of your comfort zone and buy something that you think is good quality, where you may not have an opportunity at a garage show or something. You got to act quickly and sometimes take that risk, and then you'll get used to being able to pick up things that you can tell are higher quality. I think people don't take enough risks. And then third, I would say not understanding that it's a numbers game, and you can't make any assumptions until you have at least 200 listings, in my opinion. It's just too small of a sample size to get any kind of, oh, eBay is this. Like even at 2,000 items, I don't know what eBay is like. It's different every day.
Right.
So you got to continuously adjust.
So you deal majority with clothing though, right? Majority?
Yeah, and I think I'd say 80% clothing right now.
And you can't make any deductions from 80% clothing with 2,000 listings or so?
Not absolute deductions.
Okay.
Like Kuji, right? Some stuff sells great, some stuff doesn't sell well. So
True.
It's hard to say get every Kuji item.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Or Kuji never sells for me.
Right.
But it's like if you had 10 Kuji sweaters, you would sell all 10. I just get a lot of questions, even though I just started, about why aren't my items selling? And it's like, it depends on what you're selling. If you sold discount gold, you could sell it in one day every single time you put it up. Because that's really valuable.
Right. So let's take that a step further. So you get the stuff, you get these bins, you get these piles of clothing, your Prius suspension's completely shot, and Reagan, I see him smiling. Anyway, so then how do you determine like what goes up and what goes down? Like what gets pushed out and what gets listed on the bay? Who does that decision?
So right now I am searching solds manually, and trying to sort by brand when I get these huge piles of clothing. But I think it'd be better. Like, this is why networking is key. There's a gentleman in the green room named Jake Odell, and I went down to Santa Clara with him and watched him go through men's clothing. And I learned more in the 1 hour I went with him to the thrift store than I could do looking through solds, because he could explain fabric. He could explain to me why the solds are higher, which is key, because then you can kind of reduce the time looking in the solds. You already know as you're touching it, oh, this is linen, or this is silk. It's going to be worth more money regardless of the brand. Or these, like a J. Crew and Banana Republic, have 3 dots for factory outlet. Like, that's hard to conclude from the sold listings.
Okay.
You know, kind of need an expert. So in the future, and I got this idea from Amazon sellers too, I need to hire someone to sort for me that's more of an expert, because it's going to, you know, in a few hours, they can do what I could do in a whole day. It's probably going to be cheaper to have someone, a clothing expert like Jake in the green room, that just come and just look through all of it and pay him $20 an hour or something to just separate it for me.
Hey man, I have an idea for you. I'm gonna troll you for a second.
Okay.
You know, in the green room, there's a lot of clothing books for free in there. This is what you do. You download them all that are free,
Okay,
and you hire somebody and make them read them all.
that's a good idea. It's pretty sad that I haven't used the free guys in the green room.
No, it's okay.
Jake Odell ain't got nothing on me. I'm just kidding, Jake.
No, but he's right. The power of networking. I mean, each time that we ever go reselling with people, even us as like what I consider myself pretty good at hustling, right? Like, I'm still always learning from people. It doesn't matter where I go. Like, it doesn't matter who comes in town. It could be College Picker, it could be Rakin, it could be Resell Rabbit, Jameson. But yeah, you can learn something from every single person. Like, it's crazy. And to the point where, I mean, I was learning about scrapbooking materials from Craig Morris in Florida, right? Like, he's like, I pick up scrapbooking stuff, and it's got barcodes, and you would be so surprised what it sells for in FBA. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how many times have I walked away from scrapbooking materials that are still in its plastic, or, it's just crazy stuff. Like, even down to those little stickers and things that people put in scrapbooks, you scan it and it's like, wow, $10.99, and it's like a quarter at the garage sale. Send it in, they cut you a check for like $6, That's still really good, if you look at it, and it's got crazy good ranks. So just something that you learn from each person. But I fully support that anytime you get a chance to network out there, it doesn't matter if you're part of a free group or a paid group. And, if free groups have seminars or whatever, just go to them, like, buy tickets and go to these things. If you ever get a chance to do a meetup with someone, or even if it's an informal one, like what he did with Jake Odell, I mean, just take the chance to do a meetup with someone. It doesn't have to be a grand, crazy meetup like Vegas or Austin or anything like that, but it always helps when it's that big, right? But just meet up with like-minded people. You'd be surprised how fast you really learn the art of reselling. So, okay, so what makes you and your eBay business great? Let me ask you this. It's kind of a weird question. It's a chance to, maybe just boast a little bit. Like, what do you think makes you and your business great?
I think what makes my business great is that I have a lean mentality, and lean is like a business principle where you're continuously improving something.
Right.
So I can say my business is great because every day I make an improvement to something, and I'm more focused on that than the 10K, to be honest. I know if I improve my business every day, I will get there and beyond one day. So I think a lot of people get too worried about their future goal and not worried about right now. So your future goal can be anything, but you can only do what you can do right now. So I'm really, really, really focused on what I can do today. And I think that makes my eBay business really good.
On that note, if you constantly try to improve every single day, you might end up with the end of the year at 5K on the bay, right? Right. Let's just say, for example, but you can have 5K on the bay with much better and faster listings that are completely optimized and, selling 100 items a day kind of thing, rather than having 10K items on the bay, selling 30 listings a day, like, that are paying you $10 profit, whereas the initial scenario may be $20 profit or something. So
you never know.
You never know. You're right. But if you're constantly trying to improve this thing, then you're more likely to receive scenario number one, right? In the end, where maybe the goal isn't achieved, but you've learned something so crazy that, I see a lot of people. I think when I first started FBA, I learned it from Yang, but Yang was like, I want to go to 3,000, I think it was 3,000 listings or 2,500 listings in fourth quarter. This is in 2014. And he was like, the crazy part about trying to get to 3,000 listings, and he was like at 2,500. He's like, each time I get close to it, they all just like sell real quick back down to 2,500. He's like, I can't get to 3,000. But he knew all the items to get to 3,000. They were all really good items, but he could never reach it because they were selling so fast in fourth quarter, you know. But he was picking the right items. He was knowing like, oh, it's these items that are selling. So he would just go source those items again, and then it would just sell back down to 2,500. He could never make it to 3,000, like list, you know, active items on FBA. I remember that distinctly. He was like, it's hard. I can't source it. It's like I have not enough hours in the day because it sells so quick. But hopefully, anyway, that's one of the things. That'd be a really good problem to have, right?
If you had 10,000 Nintendo Switches, you could sell them all in a week. So I mean, it just depends
you're right.
on the item. You know, like there's a balance between trying to grow your store and maximizing profit. You know, it's interesting. Like the faster you sell through, the more difficult it is to pass it, and then the slower you sell through, the more difficult your cash flow is. It's kind of always a battle.
Yeah, but that's a good battle to have. Like if it wasn't exciting, then why even go down the road, right? There's a question, or sorry, there was a remark here from Soikun Pan saying, Rake and Profit and Bonafide Hustler, I just did a purge last week and it felt so good. I think what he's talking about is like a purge of goods, or sometimes you can have a purge of like bad thoughts. But like when we talk about purges, and maybe this is one of those things that you'll come across one day, Chris, probably this year, is when you just have a certain amount of items that you just know you won't get to, or they're not selling or something. You got to purge them out. And the way I purge them out is I donate them, right? Or I give them to people in the neighborhood, right? We have Turkish kids across the street that are, I don't know, one's in high school and one's in middle school, and they just love anything that's like semi-cool. They'll take it all. And then Raken, what do you do with most of your stuff? When you purged, you had someone pick up stuff in a van, right?
Yeah, well, that wasn't really, well, I guess that was kind of a purge in a sense, but I had sold like 1,000 pieces to a reseller just because I just kind of want to start over fresh. But there's a lot of different ways to purge, right? The reason, do you know why we're talking about the purge right now? It's because I was spamming the feed asking them to hit 100 likes. If we hit 100 likes, I'll give everybody my death pile.
That's funny. Yeah, purge is important though. I think before it gets to your head, or before you start getting, you know, your clouded thoughts and all, or affects a relationship, it's important to take some of that stuff and just donate it. Like if you know you're not going to get around to it, you're not excited, you don't have any vested interest in listing it or something, it's time to get it out of there. It really is. So I'm not on the verge of a purge, but I'm on a verge of doing probably like a 20 item purge in my garage right now. So that's going to happen sometimes this weekend, and I'm okay with it. You know, it's just one of those things. And these are things that have some value. I just don't want to wait around. They're more long-tailed things, and I just don't want to wait around for it to convert. I really don't. I'd rather have the space, and it's important to me. So, Chris, do you think the purge is coming for you one time, at least sometime this year? Maybe. Have you already thought about some things?
I'm gonna go a different direction here. I need to purge some bad people out of my life.
Ooh.
So you know, I consider your brain like a beautiful hotel. And there's been some people that are hanging out in the lobby that don't need to be there. And I just need to be like, you can't live in my hotel forever. Like it's now closed. You can no longer hang out in my lobby. And there's only so much space in my brain. So I need to get rid of people that are negative or sending me the wrong vibes, because, you know, because you have to live in your hotel every day. And if they're in the lobby, it's just kind of you know, doesn't allow you to really enjoy, and that's what I'm doing. And I think it's the same for your death pile. If it's there, it's going to be dragging you down. It might be worth it, even for the small financial loss, to get rid of it and just put in higher quality guests. You know, no one complains like, why do I have all this amazing inventory? It's like I have this so-so inventory. You know, like I think death piles are always mediocre inventory, generally.
So sometimes long tail.
Yeah.
Stuff that you're just like, it has value, but you're like, you know, you just don't care about it. And by that notion, your hotel thing scenario with the lobby and everything, I think I need to purge the person on floor 7 that keeps having a rave, you know, at like 2 a.m. So I don't know who that is, but that person needs to go.
All the other guests. It does. It affects all the other guests.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. That creeper in the stairwell, yeah, that guy needs to go too. So let's go into. All right. So we talked about how you're tracking your volume and everything like that. What are 3 ways to master eBay that most need to be doing right now?
So when I first started, I actually did 10-day listings because after they ended, I could go back in and edit them and work on keywords. I think keywords are the fastest way to improve your eBay store. The second thing I want to recommend is having a constant sale. I do a 48-hour sale that I start over every 48 hours because it looks like sales ending in 2 days. It gets a little bit more urgency in people. And that brings me to my third point, which is I always mark my whatever item I have up by 30% and run a 30% discount. So meaning like my listers, the way they do pricing is eBay will recommend you should sell us between $8 and $13. And I tell them to double the low end, which is $8. So they'll double it, it'll be 16. I'll run a 30% off sale, which still leaves me in the higher range, even though
You're ranking higher though.
Right, and so it's an interesting battle, but that's the way I'm doing it with the sale, and to make it easier for the speed of the listing.
Right, well, that's good. Where do you see yourself and your business in 5 years from now?
I honestly, eBay is Bay for me. I love eBay. I love selling stuff, so I want to keep this store the same. And I have a pretty short attention span, maybe not as short as Steve's, but like I'm trying to get. I'll probably leave my eBay store the same size and work on other projects. And, oh, actually, I can sum it up. I want to do cool shit with cool people and write it off. Okay. That's what I want to do in 5 years. That's where I see myself.
Cool. Yep. So outside of reselling, what's important to you? You kind of hinted at it, but what is important to you? You have a girlfriend. You stay active in the evening. Do you eat? What do you guys like to eat at night? Like, what's going on?
I love Olympic lifting. So that's sort of my fitness jam. I think it's fun. I like traveling. My girlfriend and I want to do 8 weeks of travel a year, forever. And right when we have less money, we're going to take cheaper trips. When we have more money, maybe travel farther. But so travel is important. Olympic lifting is important. Learning is important. I always want to be improving a skill. So unlike a lot of people, maybe in the feed, I never want to not have a job. And by job, I mean I want something that I'm improving a skill. And if I stop learning, then it's time to find a new job. So I think it's important to keep learning because it's like just a fun thing for me. And then health-wise, if you guys follow my Instagram, I like to eat a lot try different foods. But 90% of the time I want to eat healthy, and the 10% I want to eat whatever I want. So that's another reason why I want to work out, so I can offset those calories.
Okay. So you're like, you work out and then you gain a bunch. Okay, I see what you're doing. It's almost like the eBay sale thing. It's like you just stay flat. But
exactly, just stay flat.
Anyway.
Oh, and one more comment on my girlfriend. We're practicing a daily gratitude journal because I think that together, I think it's easy to forget that what you're grateful for changes. So like right now versus a year from now or a month from now, you're going to be happy for different reasons. So if you can just keep the journal going, then you're going to always be happy. I don't think that you're going to be happy with more if you're not happy now. That's kind of a Zen Bruce Lee thing I'm thinking about all the time. But try to be happy now so that you can be happy with more.
Yeah, that's true. If you're not happy now, then it's like that. The money will not make you happy. The money only accentuates who you are. Now, I had this conversation with somebody in the Tiki Bar at Las Vegas, that money only makes you more of who you actually are. So that's why a lot of people get corrupted with money, because they're initially kind of corrupt inside, Right. And so the money just accentuates. It's like a magnifying glass. It just makes more of that person. So, I wish you all the best success. And before we get to the part where he tells us how you can follow him and how you can follow his journey, guys, take a second and like the video, okay? Like the video, and I want you to pay attention to the third link down below, and that's the link to his YouTube channel. I want you to go subscribe to it because he's putting content out on us on a regular basis now. So that leads us to the last question of the night, which is, how can people link up further with you? What are all the ways to link up with you outside of the green room? Because everyone knows who you are in the green room. But outside of the green room, how can these people in the feed and the people that will see this video after it's live, like how can they join your story?
Awesome. Everybody follow my journey on 10K on the Bay on Instagram and on YouTube's. I'm really enjoying documenting my journey. And I think when you guys reach out to me, introduce yourself, because I don't know who you are. And I think that's an interesting thing that you guys probably deal with all the time. People will just message you like they know you, and I don't know what context they're emailing me. So if you reach out, introduce yourself, say hello, 10K on the Bay, Instagram or YouTube, those 2 channels for now.
Okay, and then we were on the
Nice.
subject back in the halfway mark of this actual broadcast, but the power of networking leads me to my last question, which is, are you coming to Austin, man?
I need to work it in. I have so many great friends in the green room, guys, and I'm going to give you guys an unofficial plug. They did not pay me to do this, but as far as the green room goes, I'm really enjoying it. I think you guys should all join paid groups. I like paid groups more because I think when people repay, they recommit to the group. So regardless of what group you join, if you're in a paid group, it's a different vibe. There's way less complaining, and it's more like, how can we help each other out? It's way more positive. So join paid groups. Period, regardless of what it is, because it's just different.
Okay,
Cool.
well, I hope to see you in Austin, man. You better make that one of your 8 vacations, and that's a budget vacation, man. And get in on that hotel deal because it's like going fast.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's how you found out more about Chris Lin and his journey, and you can check out the 3rd link down below. Again, it's the link to his YouTube channel, hit that, and Instagram. That's where you are spending a lot of your time documenting the journey, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for being on the show, Raken. You want to get any housekeeping or?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, if you are in the green room, like you mentioned before, we're having our annual green room event in July. greenroomuniversity.com/tickets. You do have to be a green room member to go. Spaces are limited, so you can check that out. We have a hotel deal where everyone's going to be staying at the same place, and we've got a whole game plan over there for like 3 or 4 days for all different things we're doing. We're going to have a seminar, speakers. It's going to be really, really cool. So if you guys want to go and connect with a bunch of cool people, including Chris, hopefully he goes. That would be awesome. But check that out. Like, subscribe, comment, and get the free book below. That's about it. Appreciate you guys coming on, and it was fun.
That's right. All right, guys, that's pretty much the show. We'll see you next Wednesday on Raken's channel for the Green Room Hangout. Take it easy. Goodbye.
See you guys.
See ya.